Now, Good Morning Washington on your side.
We're in a Watergate moment.
We are a nation of laws, and that is a lesson that Mr. Cohen learned today, and it is a very harsh one for him.
A brutal day for President Trump's inner circle. Two former Trump allies, now convicted felons. Longtime personal lawyer Michael Cohen pleading guilty to felony campaign finance charges. Prosecutors say Cohen claims he did so at President Trump's request. And minutes after that bombshell, an Alexandria jury convicted former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort of tax evasion. He faces decades in prison.
Fake news and the Russian witch hunt.
West Virginia.
Meanwhile, President Trump defiant during a rally in West Virginia last night. The president denounced the Mueller investigation, saying there was no collusion between his campaign and Russia. He did not mention Cohen or Manafort's conviction at that rally. And good morning, Washington. Great to have you here on this very busy news day, Wednesday, August 22nd. Also, we've had very busy weather. Lots of rain, water rescues, and flooding overnight. And that flood threat, it is not over. Let's get right to Alex Liggett for the forecast this morning. Good morning, Alex.
Good morning, Melanie. And yeah, we still have a number of flood warnings everywhere from Fairfax, Prince William counties, areas of Montgomery, Loudoun, through areas north and west of D.C. as well. Those continue through late morning hours, and some of them for the creeks of Quan even through later on this evening. So we'll have to watch for some areas of high water. Now today we don't have nearly the same threat for rainfall. We do have this little boundary. This will follow the main area of low pressure, and you see all that heavier storm activity. This will come through, I think, closer to lunchtime and thereafter. So a couple of stray showers cannot be ruled out, but that's what it will be. Just some very light activity and few and far between as far as shower activity. Now, through the headlines today, falling humidity, that will be a big story. We're talking dew points right now around 70, but they will fall into the 60s. A lot of comfort later on this afternoon. The coolest in over 2 months. Yeah, we're talking lows in the 50s and 60s by Friday morning. So that would be the coolest since June 12th. And yeah, all right, more heat. That will be back. That will return, I think, Sunday and into next week. We'll have more on that in the 7-day outlook, Mel, coming up in just a couple of minutes.
All right, well, Alex, right now on the roads, the wet pavement. I had a lot of fog coming inbound off of 270 this morning, leaving Gaithersburg, trying to get across the American Legion Bridge. This happens to be the camera along Georgia Avenue after the Beltway. Accident activity was along the left side, so heads up as you travel inbound towards 16th Street on Georgia Avenue. Northbound, all lanes are open. 66 coming inbound from Manassas. Off to a quiet start. A 21-minute ride leaving business 234, headed back east towards Vienna and Oakton. When I return, we're going to take a look at 95 down in Woodbridge. Mel, back over to you.
Julie, thanks. 7's on your side with storm watch coverage as flash flood waters recede this morning. This was the scene last night as a driver tried to cross Woodburn Road in Annandale. Christopher Gonzalez eventually rescued by police. And in Capitol Heights, Jonathan Marlowe also dialed 911 as flash flood waters overwhelmed his car.
It was very fast. All of a sudden, it just came on us in about 30 seconds. We're really glad that this many people came out to get us. That's a tribute to Prince George's County.
No injuries reported. It's unclear if the cars can be salvaged. In Hawaii, a state of emergency in effect as Hurricane Lane strengthens now to a Category 5 storm. The National Hurricane Center says Lane is now packing winds topping 160 miles per hour. The eye wall of that storm reportedly 20 miles wide. A flash flood watch is in effect for all the Hawaiian Islands starting this morning through Friday afternoon. Some stretches of coastline could see 25-foot waves. Several airlines, that includes American and Hawaiian Airlines, are issuing travel advisories to customers flying to or from Hawaii. Well, a birthday party and the guest list raising some eyebrows. The Washington Post reporting President Trump's chief economic advisor, Larry Kudlow, hosted a party at his house last week, and a prominent white nationalist was among his guests. Peter Brimlow runs the white nationalist website VDare. Kudlow calls Brimlow an old friend, but claims he was not aware of his promotion of white nationalism. As we reported yesterday, police in several states, including the district, are seeing an uptick in medical emergencies caused by synthetic marijuana. And in Florida prisons, it is proving very deadly. According to the Department of Corrections, the substance was the top killer of inmates in 2017. 67 people fatally overdosed. Investigators say the drug is often laced with roach spray and rat poison. Right now, your time 4:29, and we're just getting started.
Now, Good Morning Washington on your side.
These are very serious charges and reflect a pattern of lies and dishonesty.
Coming up, the president's former attorney pleading guilty to felony charges. And now lawmakers reacting as Michael Cohen implicates his former boss in the crime. Good morning, Washington, and welcome in. It's a Wednesday morning, middle of the week, August 22nd. We got a lot of rain last night, and we're still feeling the effects from it. Alex, is the worst of the flooding now over?
Oh, yeah, by far. I mean, we're going to see the flood threat kind of deteriorate as we go through the afternoon, which is good. We will see this kind of end as we have a couple of showers still off to our west. That's just the reinforcing upper low kind of moving through this afternoon. I think the best chance for rain will be between around noon and 3, but we're not anticipating any storm activity. I mean, we had 2.5 inches of rain at Dulles Airport, at Reagan National, at my house. So, yeah, it was really, really wet yesterday. Now, here's a look at some of the morning temperatures. 74 Reagan National Airport, 69 Manassas, 64, a little bit cooler Leesburg, 68 Winchester. We will be noticing the dew points, which are now still around 70 in the immediate D.C. metro, some in the mid-60s out to the west. These will continue to fall through the afternoon. So what does that mean? More comfort. That will really be noted as we go through the day tomorrow. Your next 12 hours here, high today into the mid-80s between around 3 and 5 o'clock, dropping back into the 70s by 8, 9 o'clock tonight. Now, we will have the potential again for a few stray showers. Here's a look at the Storm Watch 7 Futurecast. 10:30, really nothing around the D.C. metro. A couple of showers developing on the I-81 corridor. Those will continue to move to the east. Greatest chance for showers will be to the south and east as we go through the afternoon. Here's a look at 1:30. Even as we go through 3, 4 o'clock, already pushing off into the Bay and east of town. So really not anticipating much in the way of showers today, but low humidity and beautiful conditions. Julie, great pool weather coming up for you as we get through tomorrow. How's traffic?
That's what I like to hear. Great pool weather on the way. Right now, dealing with a little bit of fog this morning, so you want to allow some extra time out the front door. Wet pavement, Georgia Avenue, one of the places where we have an accident. That's southbound Georgia after the Beltway along the left side, so heads up there, continuing back down towards the D.C. line. Now, coming northbound on I-95, had the crash in Dale City, another fender bender in Lorton. Both have been pulled over to the shoulder, but overall, from the Occoquan to the Beltway, just a 10-minute ride headed in towards the Springfield interchange, leaving Woodbridge. Now, that's our traffic watch. When I return, we'll take a look at your drive at the Wilson Bridge. Melanie.
This morning, President Trump's former personal attorney and fixer is facing prison time. Michael Cohen pled guilty in federal court to campaign finance violations, including illegal campaign contributions. And as Janae Norman reports now, Cohen implicated President Trump in the case.
Michael, what's your message to the president?
He was in the president's inner circle, but now on the outs. Longtime personal attorney and fixer Michael Cohen, who once said he'd take a bullet for Donald Trump, pleading guilty to illegally paying hush money to silence 2 women who claimed to have had sex with the president, telling a judge he was working in coordination and at the direction of a candidate for federal office. Cohen's lawyer, Lanny Davis, telling MSNBC,
"It was a crime for President Trump to direct Michael Cohen to the crime of a campaign finance donation that exceeded the legal limitations."
11 days before the election, he paid off porn star Stormy Daniels, who claimed she had a one-night stand with Trump.
Did you know about the $130,000 payment to Stormy Daniels?
Well, you have to ask Michael Cohen. Michael's my attorney, and you'll have to ask Michael.
The president denied knowing about it, though prosecutors say Cohen was reimbursed by the Trump Organization.
So there's a cover-up here by our now President of the United States that is undeniable. He directed Michael Cohen to make this payment of $130,000.
Cohen also paid off Karen McDougal, the former Playboy playmate who claimed to have had a year-long affair with Trump, who also denied knowing about that payment. The president's lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, saying there's no allegation of any wrongdoing against the president in the government's charges against Mr. Cohen. It is clear that, as the prosecutor noted, Mr. Cohen's actions reflect a pattern of lies and dishonesty over a significant period of time. President Trump was confident his right-hand man wouldn't turn on him. Michael Cohen once said he'd take a bullet for the president, but he was clearly looking to cut a deal. Court documents showing Donald J. Trump was the candidate Cohen was helping when he committed those crimes. Reporting in Northwest, Janae Norman, Good Morning Washington.
Right now, former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort is awaiting sentencing after a Virginia jury convicted him on tax evasion. The news coming just minutes after Trump attorney Michael Cohen pleaded guilty. Manafort, whose trial lasted for several weeks, was convicted on tax fraud, bank fraud, and hiding money overseas. He faces decades in prison. President Trump praised Manafort on Tuesday, calling him a good man. But Mr. Trump says the verdict has nothing to do with Russian collusion. And now to a story that you'll see only on ABC 7. Two school communities supporting one another amid tragedy. As students across the country head back to school, teens from Great Mills High School are driving to Parkland, Florida, months after both schools were rocked by shootings. Heather Graff has more.
Yeah, she took that picture at the very end of our trip.
For Jackson O'Mara, the photos, now saved on her cell phone, document every mile and every memory.
Yeah, that was all of the kids.
From a journey that she and Molly Davis will never forget.
Really think and I hope that it was healing for them as well.
You see, Molly and Jackson were both students at Great Mills High School during the March 20th shooting that took the life of their classmate, 16-year-old Jalen Willie.
It happened here, and nobody expected it, and it was gut-wrenching.
A tragedy that happened just weeks after the massacre that killed 17 people at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida.
No one understands it quite like other kids who have been through that.
So with the start of another school year quickly approaching, the girls asked two of Jalen's closest friends, plus a Great Mills teacher, to join them for a special road trip to meet some of the Parkland students and survivors.
We just tried to be regular teenagers this afternoon. We had pizza and soda, and we painted rocks. And then we actually split the rocks between the two schools. So there are rocks that are headed to Douglas that were painted by students from Great Mills, and rocks headed to Great Mills that are painted by students from Douglas.
A shared sorrow and an unbreakable bond that now stretches from Maryland to Florida and back.
It's really a bond that you can't find anywhere else.
Heather Graff, Good Morning Washington.
Demolition now underway at the senior living apartments in Centerville, Virginia, destroyed by a massive fire back in the spring. 127 people lost their homes. Many have fought for months for a chance to recover any belongings that survived the fire. Management denying those requests, citing safety concerns. Some residents came to watch the work, hopeful if a construction worker found a keepsake, they could retrieve it. And happening today in D.C., we're getting ready to celebrate a district landmark. A block party kicks off at 11 this morning in honor of Ben's Chili Bowl's 60th birthday. It'll mean U Street closing down between 11th and 13th Streets from 9:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. for those festivities. Following the block party, a gala at the Lincoln Theater. All proceeds from the event will go to the Ben's Chili Bowl Foundation, which benefits the U Street neighborhood. Our own Kid O'Shea will be having a live report a little bit later this morning. Be sure to stay tuned for that. Coming up, a tragic end to the search for a missing jogger. We now learn more about the man who police say chased down and murdered an Iowa college student.
Hi, this is Adam Ferrara. I just want to say good morning, Washington. You look good. I have to lay down.
And good morning, Washington, to you. Right now, we do have some patches of fog out there early this morning. Temperatures there in the 60s and 70s across the region. Still actually have some areas of high water as well. Flood warnings continue through the morning hours for numerous counties across the D.C. metro. We've had between 2.5 and over 4 inches of rain in spots yesterday. Current area temperatures 74 at Reagan National, 69 Manassas, 76 in Annapolis. As we go through the late morning hours, we will watch the next chance for showers. I think getting closer to the D.C. metro, closer around the lunchtime. So anywhere between around noon and 3 o'clock. And the best likelihood, the highest chances for rain will be D.C. and points to the south and east. Right now, mainly dry across the nation's capital, but of course, we will deal with some patchy fog. And of course, watch for closed roadways if you're out there this morning as well. Temperatures mainly in the mid-70s over the next couple hours. Getting out the door, out to lunch, yeah, maybe a stray shower. Not even sure if it's umbrella worthy, but temperatures, they'll be around 80 degrees at noon, getting into the mid-80s by 2 o'clock later on this afternoon. Nationals forecast looks beautiful this evening. Julie, lower humidity, temperatures starting out around 80 degrees, dropping into the 70s.
All right, Alex, right now a new problem to report. This one in Montgomery County, down here in Rockville, Key West Avenue here at Shady Grove Road. A lot of equipment on the scene of this crash. Still waiting for a tow truck to arrive. Key West Avenue blocked off each way here at Shady Grove Road. 270 is still open. It's just this portion of the intersection, Key West and Shady Grove, that remains blocked. Also, southbound Georgia Avenue, south of the Beltway, down near 16th Street for the crash. That's what was tying up the far left lane. Promised you a look headed towards the Wilson Bridge coming out of Maryland, and so far, 8-minute ride leaving Branch Avenue headed across the bridge. That's our traffic watch. Remember, stay connected with us on the roads with our brand new ABC7 Traffic Watch app. You can download it today for free at the Google Play Store or the App Store by logging on to WJLA Traffic. Now.
All right, Julie, thank you. Coming up, Asia Argento firing back at claims that she sexually abused an underage boy who she says told her to pay off her accuser. Plus, a close encounter, on the high seas. The story behind this incredible video coming up.
You're watching Good Morning Washington on your side.
And now a devastating outcome for the missing college student in Iowa. Police are revealing that they found the body of Molly Tibbetts. She vanished while jogging more than a month ago. And as Alex Perez reports now, authorities say the suspect is a Mexican immigrant who was in this country illegally.
After a month of searching and arrest and the disappearance of Molly Tibbetts, authorities charging 24-year-old Christian Rivera, who investigators say is an undocumented immigrant from Mexico, with first-degree murder. The suspect himself, police say, leading them to the rural area where police say he dumped her remains.
She was found in a cornfield, and there were corn stalks placed over the top of her.
The University of Iowa student was last spotted going for a run near cornfields July 18th. According to investigators, Rivera followed Molly and abducted her about 10 miles from where she was living in Brooklyn.
He ran alongside of her or behind her, and then she took off running. He in turn chased her down.
This video capturing her smiling just days before her disappearance. Her emotional family spending much of the last 34 days asking for the public's help, pleading for her return.
Hang in there and miss your pie. Come home.
Investigators had been working around the clock since she mysteriously vanished, the FBI helping investigators zero in on her digital footprint and location information from her Fitbit. But authorities revealed it was surveillance video captured on a neighbor's camera that helped them track the suspect down.
The video was critical, I'll put it that way.
Authorities have not revealed any details about a possible motive in this case, but they say the suspect led them to her remains and confessed to the crime. Alex Perez, ABC News, Brooklyn, Iowa.
And the news of Molly Tibbetts' death reaching President Trump. Speaking last night in West Virginia, he called on voters to elect more Republicans to help him change immigration laws.
You heard about today with the illegal alien coming in, very sadly, from Mexico, and you saw what happened to that incredible, beautiful young woman. Should have never happened. Illegally in our country. We've had a huge impact, but the laws are so bad. The immigration laws are such a disgrace. We're getting them changed, but we have to get more Republicans. We have to get.
The ACLU is investigating this video of an encounter between a woman and Border Patrol officers, federal agents stopping traffic in New Hampshire looking for illegal immigrants.
I have a legal right to remain silent about that question, okay?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't detect any foreign accent, so I'm assuming that you're a U.S. citizen, but I don't know yet.
So now the presumption is accents.
Asma El-Houni is a U.S. citizen, but she claims Border Patrol agents profiled her because she is a Muslim and wears a hijab. The encounter lasted a few minutes and she was allowed to leave. The ACLU says those checkpoints are legal in the border state, but they have to be done correctly.
If the person did have a foreign accent, then one would assume that that person would have been detained if they elected not to answer the questions of Border Patrol. That's profiling. That's not something that we allow in this country.
ACLU attorneys say regardless of whether the motorist declines to answer questions or not, agents are not allowed to detain without suspicion of a crime. Italian actress Asia Argento is now responding to sexual assault allegations against her. Argento, who is considered a major leader of the Me Too movement, is now admitting to paying a former co-star almost $400,000 after he accused her of sexual assault when he was 17. Still, Argento denies anything sexual happened. Her statement says she made the payment because her then boyfriend, Anthony Bourdain, encouraged her to handle the matter privately. And we're also hearing from another leader of the Me Too movement. Actress Rose McGowan responded to the Asia Argento allegations on Twitter. In a now deleted tweet, she writes, quote, "None of us know the truth of the situation, and I'm sure more will be revealed. Be gentle." And in another tweet, she writes, "I will continue my work on behalf of victims everywhere." And now we've got some video you simply need to see to believe. A fisherman in New Hampshire getting quite the surprise here. Nick Fahey says he sees a lot on the water, but last week this topped it off when that large humpback whale breached that water right next to his ship. The moment all caught on his cell phone video. Amazingly, his boat able to stay afloat.
He was like less than 10 feet, probably like 5 to 10 feet. He was really close. He came out a good amount. I mean, his whole head was bigger than the boat.
Yeah, the whale quietly swam away after saying hello there. Fahey says out of everything he's seen on the water, this by far is the greatest. Got to show it to you one more time there. That is amazing. And what was really amazing, Alex, is he happened to have been rolling on the camera right at that moment.
Talk about stroke of luck there, right?
Yep.
That would wake you up.
Oh, yeah. He has something to tell his grandchildren now, and
yes,
the video proof.
Right. You're like, no, seriously.
Yeah. Speaking of water, boy, we got a lot of it last night. I was
man.
just watching out the window. It was coming down, pouring.
It was just teeming, I mean, for hours and hours on end. Take a look at some of this rainfall total here. 2.72 Dulles. That took the cake there as far as some of the local airports. Had over 4 inches at Joint Base Andrews as well. These are record-breaking totals. Reagan National had 2.46 yesterday, breaking an over 100-year record from 1906. So that just gives you an idea of just how much rain fell. And there were just periods of rain, just, I mean, over and over and over again. The same spots why we have so many flood warnings just continuing through the morning hours. So if you do encounter some of the higher water in the roadways, make sure you turn around, find another way. Also, a lot of road closures are still kind of ongoing through some of the rural counties this morning. Do have some showers mainly on the western slopes of the Appalachians. Those will get closer to the D.C. metro later on this afternoon. Think the best timing between around noon and 3 o'clock. Otherwise, partly cloudy, temperatures in the mid-80s this afternoon. Here's a look at the futurecast. Really not much to show as far as even noon. Northwesterly winds will be a little bit of a breeze at times. Very, very isolated showers, and temperatures, they will drop back into the 60s and even 50s as we go tomorrow morning. 57 Leesburg, 64 downtown. The next 7 days, 80 degrees on your Thursday, a lot of sunshine, low humidity, dew points in the 50s. Just very comfortable. Plenty of sunshine around out the work week as well. And into the weekend, right now it looks really nice. Partly cloudy to mostly sunny. Temperatures 85 to 90 degrees Saturday and Sunday. Julie?
Hello, pool time.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Alex, on the roads right now, you were talking about some areas where we still have some flooding. One of those in Virginia, Piper Lane. Listen closely for those that typically take Piper Lane over to the VRE stop. Piper Lane is now closed between Nokesville Road and Observation Road. You'll want to stick with Godwin over to Wakeman as your workaround to head back over towards the VRE stop. So again, Piper Lane is what's closed at this time, each way between Nokesville Road and Observation Road. Crash cleanup continues here in the middle of the intersection of Key West Avenue and Shady Grove Road. Still, we're following police direction to get by, and we had the crash in Montgomery County, southbound Georgia Avenue after the Beltway. Stay to the far right to get through. That's our traffic watch. When we return, we'll update that commute in Virginia, plus we'll take a look at 395. Stay with us. There's more of Good Morning Washington right after the break.
You're watching Good Morning Washington on your side.
A major financial company footing the bill now to keep working moms feeding their newborns. Goldman Sachs says it will start paying for its employees to ship breast milk back home if they are traveling for work. The World Health Organization and UNICEF recommends that children be breastfed exclusively for the first 6 months of life. And there's much more coming up on Good Morning Washington. John Gonzalez, what are you working on for 5 o'clock?
Water rescues overnight and this morning. We have video to show you people trapped in their cars this morning. Turn around, don't drown. Well, a lot of people have been ignoring that this summer. We'll show you the video coming up right here on Good Morning Washington.